like every other morning before. Now I wonder what my life is gonna mean if it's gone. The cars are moving like a half a mile an hour, and I started staring at the passengers and waving goodbye. Can you tell me what was ever really special about me all this time? But I believe the world is burning to the ground. Oh well, I guess we're gonna find out. Let's see how far we've come. Let's see how far we've come. Well, I believe it all is coming to an end. Oh well, I guess we're gonna pretend. Let's see how far we've come. Let's see how far we've come. We could turn 10 o'clock, but I don't really know. And I can't remember caring for an hour or so. Started crying and I couldn't stop myself. I started running, but there's nowhere to run to. I sat down on the street, took a look at myself. Said, where you going, man? You know the world is headed for hell. Say your goodbyes if you got someone you can say goodbye to. I believe the world is burning to the ground. Oh well, I guess we're gonna find out. Let's see how far we've come right now. Let's see how far we've come. I believe it all is coming to an end. Oh well, I guess we're gonna pretend. Let's see how far we've come. Let's see how far we've come.
All right, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another We Read the Documents live stream. Your host, John Brisson. Thank you for being a subscriber. That was Matchbox 20. Look how far we've come. Actually, one of the best pop breakup songs, in my opinion, that at least modernly written. Because you're thinking at the beginning he's talking about the end of the world, right? But then, the part that I cut out, which does not pertain to the stream, is you realize that no, it's actually because he broke up with his significant other. It was interesting. I was in the grocery store, and I hadn't heard that song in years, and it came on, and I was like, I guess it really is pertinent with what is going on in the world currently. We're gonna talk about a lot of that today, and then kind of you have and that song is very human potential, right? In a lot of ways, very defeatist in a lot of ways. I know as a Christian, our hope is to Jesus Christ, even when we go through the tribulation. And I'm well aware of that. But as we go through the tribulation, there's going to be doubts that we deal with. There's going to be fleshly anger that we deal with. God hope that doesn't happen when we're having lived through the events of the tribulation. But look how far we've come in a matter of 4 years, right? And it does really feel like we're entering into the tribulation, right? Well, we're just gonna act here and pretend like we're not. The world's burning to the ground. We're just like every other time, right? Kind of pushing some Alexander Dugin Kali Yuga, right? No, I don't think we go around one more time. I think this may be it. We'll see. So this will be in a future stream, continuing Tucker Carlson expose series. I'm hoping to have fellow brother in Christ, dear friend of mine and researcher Ryan from Real Sports History on to discuss Tucker Carlson interviewing and trying to sweep up for the fraudster, the FTX cryptocurrency exchange founder Sam Bankman-Fried. Okay. So I hope Brian joins me for that. He knows a lot about FTX and the fall of FTX. So hoping he can join me for that. But I will be playing Jonathan Rumi, stories from the set of the Chosen Christian Martyrs and the Power of Lent. Jonathan Rumi being a false Great Awakening Catholic. I've covered him on this channel many times. Who's plays Jesus on The Chosen. And look, we have good old Russell Brand, who I've also shown on this channel many times, who I believe is not a born-again believer. And I believe that he's still very much a New Ager. And has been interviewed by Tucker Carlson. I love these men, and I love the Lord. Well, Russell, I don't know which Lord you're talking about. I don't believe that you're talking about God the Father. I've documented many times where I still believe that Russell Brand is a New Ager. So yeah, there you go. So I definitely will be covering this in hopefully in a further Tucker Carlson expose series episode. And it's a sign of the times. Oh, look, it's Ian Carroll, everybody's favorite Great Awakening conspiracy theorist, right? Me and S90 are hopefully going to cover him on Joe Rogan. Okay, Elon Musk was on Joe Rogan, and then Ian Carroll happened to be on Joe Rogan. All right, but, this is right after Ian Carroll being on Joe Rogan and really exposing Jeffrey Epstein and, giving props about, Whitney Webb's limited hangout work on Jeffrey Epstein. But, however, he says that Whitney Webb is crazy for her exposés on the technocracy. I wonder why, Ian. I wonder why that might be.
And
excuse the language here, okay? Now, Ian's obviously having connection problems, right? Were they forced connection problems, or were they just spontaneous?
Podcast is never enough to dissect all of any one of these conspiracy issues, let alone some 30 or something that we talked about. And there's controversy with a lot of them, but we're obviously going to focus a lot on the Israel one today. Hopefully my internet is doing good. I've been having some weird internet stuff today as far as my connectivity. So I'll keep my eye on the comments as much as I can. And if the internet is horrible, let me know and I can switch to the alternative internet. Audio is fuck, huh?
Well, good old Ian's having problems with his internet. It's spontaneous,
Hopefully,
right, guys? It's an oopsie. It's an oopsie.
Is better now? How's the audio now? How's the audio now?
It's better, Ian. I can hear you.
Our quality's ass, huh?
It's like those Verizon wireless commercials, right? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Ian, I could hear you. Your quality was better. What happened, bud? I need you to reestablish that connection. How are you going to reestablish that connection, Ian?
How about now?
Yeah, you sound a lot better. Look, the latency's improved.
Here, a little better. A little better.
There's less lag.
Testing our
Look
audio.
how great his video and his audio is now.
No, I've got.
What could that be, chat? Why that happen?
Having a whole bunch of problems this morning.
Did he switch to a mobile hotspot on his phone, chat? Switch to 5G, chat? Chat, what could it be?
Starlink.
Oh, Starlink. You set up Starlink just in case the internet at your Airbnb didn't do well, did you, Ian? You love using Elon Musk's beast products with the Starlink, don't you, bud? The technocracy. Elon Musk ain't part of the technocracy. Ain't part of the coming new world order, is he, Ian? Right? He's our guy, right? It's just spontaneous, Joe Rogan bringing up Eric Prince's unplugged phone, and you agreeing that you want one. Oh, Ian, you're really getting down to the bottom of the things. You're really following the money and seeking the truth, right? The truth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. No, you're not. You're a limited hangout shill. You're in the Great Awakening, and it's sad. Okay? You're in the false Great Awakening. I don't know whether you're a true believer or an opportunist. I lean opportunist because of how much you shill, okay? But maybe I'm wrong. Oh, look. Ian Karen and Alex Jones on Epstein and Israeli connections. Why is this coming out now? Well, that's very curious, chat. I mean, Alex Jones, I tried to find the video. It's been scrubbed pretty hard. I could probably go back and look at one of my streams. And I remember when Alex Jones was in the airport, and I think it was around the time that Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Okay, that Alex Jones was saying that was a Chi-Coms. The whole Epstein nexus was just because of the Chinese communist Chi-Coms. Okay. Well, I guess no longer Alex Jones thinks it's the Chi-Coms. What does he think it is, chat?
Robert Maxwell. Tell people about Robert Maxwell for people that don't know.
Well, Robert Maxwell was Czechoslovakian, and he sort of transferred from nation to nation through his life because he fought in World War II, and he was working intelligence operations for Britain. But eventually, he is Jewish. He was born Jewish, and eventually he wound up working for Israel, and he was doing arms smuggling through the 80s, where he...
Things that we've known for years, chat. Robert Maxwell was Jewish and Israeli connections and the arms smuggling, things that we've known and talked about on this channel for years. Now it's okay to talk about it. Why is it okay to talk about it, chat? What is going on here? All of a sudden, it's okay to talk about the massive crimes of the Israeli government and the Mossad's involvement in the Jeffrey Epstein nexus. Now it's fine to talk about. It's almost like, chat, that the world is turning against Israel. It's almost like this is pre-programmed. It's almost like when Q Operation said Israel is last, right? And the Antichrist's wrath, which is ultimately God's wrath on Babylon, mystery Babylon, which is Jerusalem. It's almost like this is setting up to something. It's almost like there's a rising anger and hatred towards the Jewish people in America, not against the ultra-Jewish elite that are doing, a lot of these crimes, okay? Among various other races, too, that are, other races are not incomplicit in these horrific crimes when they come leading governments as well, too. I look at the Harlot World Order as some sort of, combination of Freemasonry, Jesuitism, and kind of like your Zionist, your Jewish powers, So it's not all that, It's just we're going to blame your Jewish neighbor. Your Jewish neighbor that's just like any non-believer out there that we should pray for and we should preach the gospel to and we should do good works in the hope that they see that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Now, scripturally, their hearts are partially hard, they're partially blind due to the Jewish people rejecting Jesus as the Messiah. Okay, but that doesn't mean they're totally hardened. That doesn't mean they're totally blind to Jesus. Okay, so you should show them grace and mercy and love just as we should any non-believer. Okay, but all of a sudden, it's all the Jews. So that should make people really think why. What kind of pendulum swing are we getting here? Back and forth, right? What's going on? Why might that be? Well, we're going to get to the other side in a minute, okay? We're going to get to the other side in just a minute. And what this might be set up for as, people in America becoming increasingly angry about the Jewish people. Okay. About the Jewish people, all right? Going to be sent to Israel, which would fulfill biblical prophecy, right? Right? Well, here's the other side. Anti-Semitism, like racism, is a spiritual and moral malady that sickens societies and kills people with lethalities comparable to history's most deadly plagues. In recent years, the censorship and false narratives of the woke council culture have transformed our great universities into greenhouses for this deadly and virulent pestilence. Making America healthy means building communities of trust and mutual respect based on speech freedom and open debate. Now, my streams on RFK Jr., the Zionist, and his friendship and relationship with the false Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, and we should pray for Shmuley. He's very much a degenerate. I'm not going to publish them on this platform. You can go look them on Odyssey, okay? So it's well established that, you'll hear in the mythos, JFK railed against Israel, and that was the reason why Israel killed him, okay? I could do a whole stream on why that narrative is false, all right? I could do a whole stream on why JFK is not our guy. I maybe might contact Lee Chapman to see if I can get him on to finally have that stream. But he wasn't, okay? So here is the other side, where if anybody criticizes Bibi Netanyahu, the Israeli government, are spiritual issues with false Judaism. They are, the Jewish people are non-believers. It's just like, forming Christian apologetics against any non-believer, like a pagan, for example. But there's a lot of people, that's out there that have the idol of Israel, and there are a lot of Christian apologists that won't spend time discussing the errors with the Talmud or Kabbalah, for example. David Wood being one who, rightfully speaks about the inconsistencies and the issues with Muhammad in the Quran, but sometimes he goes too far, right? He's blaming Muslims for the ills of the world. Okay. So you're kind of seeing the same thing happening with the Jews in Israel right now, right? And I'm not saying that they're not powerful Israeli or Jewish oligarchs and billionaires that are part of the Harlot current world order. I've talked about that many times on my stream. There's a balance in discussing this, okay? And so, will this, as anger towards Jewish people rises in the United States and rises around the world, will this come to some sort of head where America, if Trump is the Antichrist, he will have to protect Israel. Will this end up putting people who are labeled anti-Semitic or people that quote unquote hate Jews, will they end up being putting in wellness camps because it's a spiritual problem and a mental illness? Because Kennedy's talked about those wellness camps, right? We'll see. I don't know. I go back and forth. The enforcement of the Noahide laws will ever happen. I think they're going to happen under the Heartless system and not the Beast system. But if they do happen. But, we're having this swing, right, where, powerful Jewish elites are being exposed, but people aren't necessarily blaming those powerful Jewish elites. They're blaming all Jews. And so you're having the pendulum swing the other direction, in that now the pro-Zionists, the ardent Zionists, are going to have to crack down, right? So it's kind of funneling people, whether they're too extreme or not, into a culling shed. All right? Hopefully, I was able to articulate my beliefs, because it's funny, the anti-Zionist people say I'm not anti-Zionist enough. The pro-Zionist people call me a Jew-hating Nazi. Must be doing something right when both sides hate me, right? So anyway, we had Ian there, backing Starlink. So Brendan Carr of the FCC, we issued an order of the FCC today that allows Starlink's direct-to-cell service to operate at a higher power. That's an interesting turn of phrase. It is, concerning more wattage, but a higher power. The power flux density leveled up to 110.6 decimal watts meters squared by megahertz. Okay. So, enabling faster, more reliable, and innovative new services for consumers across the country. Well, there's a lot of people on the Maha side, that don't want to speak out against Starlink and the non-native EMF exposure that's never been tested on human beings, that's blanketing the globe currently in low Earth orbit, that may be more detrimental than 5G. That probably is more detrimental than 5G. But we're not going to talk about that. They just increased the power. More exposure, stronger exposure, greater exposure. That's okay, right? Anything for ever forward marching progress. Ooh. The Florida Attorney General's office is investigating Andrew and Tristan Tate. Now, whether or not this is just for show or not, I'm going to get my popcorn and enjoy it anyway. Because you know what? I've covered Andrew Tate on this channel. I've covered the Tates. They're as dirty as they come. They're degenerates. They're human traffickers. We should pray that God has mercy on them, because they are going to be, eventually brought down in some fashion, whether it's during their lives now or when they are waiting to be judged for the final judgment to be cast into hell for all eternity. And God's judgment and vengeance come upon them for how wicked the Tates are. And it disgusts me and it sickens me that any Christian or any conservative can uphold these fallen gentlemen as some sort of man's man that we should look up to. Some sort of ideal alpha male, which they're anything but. They're falling degenerates in the need of a savior that we should pray for. The arrogancy of Andrew Tate knows no bounds. It's disgusting, okay? So whether or not this is grand theater or not, I'm going to enjoy it because hopefully, at least, it's going to bring some eyes to, these corrupt brothers. Florida Attorney General announced Tuesday his office has opened a criminal investigation into Andrew and Tristan Tate are charged with human trafficking in Romania days after the return to the United States. Very interesting. The rest of the Romanian president, and they were returned during that time period, and the Romanian president is very pro-conspiracy theory and being a darling on CMP conservative media, being interviewed frequently. Something. One of these things are very much like the other. One of these things very do much belong. There's something to this. Attorney General James Uthmeyer announced on social media he directed his office to work with law enforcement to conduct a preliminary inquiry into the Tate brothers. Based on a thorough review of the evidence, I've directed the Office of Statewide Prosecution to execute search warrants and issue subpoenas in the now active criminal investigation into the Tate brothers, Uthmeyer said. After the Tates landed in Fort Lauderdale on Thursday, Governor Ron DeSantis told reporters that the brothers weren't welcome in Florida, and he would have Attorney General examine whether the state may have jurisdiction over their alleged crimes. During the appearance Monday on the Patrick Bet David podcast, who Patrick Bet David, did he take Andrew Tate to task? Patrick Bet David claims to be a Christian. Did he go after the allegations at Andrew Tate directly? Did he face them? Did he speak the truth of the gospel to the flaky Muslim Andrew Tate? Did he do any of those things? No. No. Andrew Tate said the governor was caving to media pressure. Tate said he used a U.S. passport and a right to visit his home country. He said he's broken no laws. He's never been tried, let alone convicted of a crime. All right. Candace Owens thinks it's unfair that Andrew Tate's phone was seized as he's being investigated for crimes in Florida. She says she should seize the phones of Ron DeSantis and Attorney General James Uthmeyer.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me because this is not the way due process should work, okay? Yep. And people should not be prosecuted because you don't like their ideas or you want something for them. We have to make sure.
It's just because Andrew Tate is a G. It's just because Andrew Tate's an alpha male. He preaches the false gospel of being an alpha male, not according to the Bible, but according to Andrew Tate, what it means to be a man or father, okay? Andrew Tate, through his own words, have implicated himself in his own female sex trafficking ring, okay? The OnlyFans pusher degenerate Andrew Tate, okay, who's still proud of all his works, okay? They're just saying he's being prosecuted because they don't like what he says. No. He's being investigated, at least on optics, because of things that he said directly alluding to human trafficking in the female allegations against him. You can look them all up.
Sure, we protect our judicial system. And so when I hear this, they took your technology as soon as you landed, what should be happening right now is left and right pressure should be put on Ron DeSantis and this Attorney General to make a statement as to why that was done, under what grounds a preliminary investigation is done. I want to know what is the legal route to getting Ron DeSantis' text messages that day. I want to know who was texting Ron DeSantis. Is it a FOIA request? Who was emailing Ron DeSantis and texting him? I don't want your phone. I want his. Okay?
Yeah.
Your phone makes no sense to me. I want Ron DeSantis' phone. I want the Attorney General's phone. I want Uthmeyer's phone. I want to know what donors texted you and told you to move, because you were moving for donors and money and corruption, no different than a George Soros DA was doing. And I don't care if it's left or right. Wrong is wrong.
You nailed it.
Yeah, it doesn't matter to me because this is not the way due process should work, okay?
Now, Uthmeyer did graduate with a law degree from Georgetown University. He is Jesuit trained, so we don't know if there's some sort of inner warfare going on here, okay? But look, good old Roger Stone, good old upstanding man Roger Stone, who claims to be a born-again Christian, right? I've covered that. He very much is likely not, stuck in the false Great Awakening. Roger Stone says the ultra-Zionist homosexual Richard Grinnell secured the release of the Tates because there was no evidence against them. So now, of course, little Ron DeSantis says these United States citizens who have pending no charges against them are not welcome in Florida. So we have the degenerate Tate brothers, the degenerate cuckold Roger Stone, okay, and now who secured the releases? Well, that would be the degenerate ultra-Zionist homosexual Richard Grinnell. Now, you may ask, why, am I talking about bringing up that he's homosexual? Well, it's a sin. Homosexuality is a sin. And all the conservatives overlook it for Richard Grinnell, especially the Christian conservatives. They just overlook at him because he stands with Israel. So somehow Richard Grinnell, the ardent Zionist that stands with Israel, somehow allows the Tate brothers, the Andrew Tate, who's an outspoken critic of Israel, allows them to go from Romania to the United States of America. That's almost like I've done many streams talking about Zionists are in bed with the anti-Zionists. Imagine that, right? Imagine that. Degenerate, 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 degenerate. They're all degenerates. They're all platform boosting and pushing each other, right? It's the inconsistencies and hypocrisies is what I'm calling out here. And if you want to know my stance on why homosexuality is sinful, just read Romans 1, okay? Oh, look, Eric Prince, platform boosting Doge. Well, that's quite interesting. What about more information on artificial intelligence and Doge this week? Look, it's Elon Musk, and what does Elon Musk say here?
Look, what I don't like about...
And look, this is Elon Musk sharing Alex Karp and Palantir. And Alex Karp claims to be a Democrat, right? But what is he going to say about Doge's mission? Is Palantir like Doge?
What's going on is I just view this as, well, let's watch the Democratic Party commit suicide. And I've been a Democrat most of my life. I kind of view myself as outside it, but I don't like watching the Democrats just commit suicide. And what I see is most of the country doesn't really, at this point, given the fraud, waste, and abuse we know is there, 90% of the country's like, get rid of that fraud, waste, and abuse. And I just view this as yet another example of the progressive left boxing themselves into a suicide dance. Now, what the progressive left should be doing is saying, okay, Elon, you're clearly the most qualified person in the world to do something like this. We want to dialogue with you about how you're doing and what are you doing. I don't believe that's actually what happened. And again, I like Elon. I know, I think he's obviously the most important builder in the world. And I just think, if you want to say my former side, I don't believe that they're actually engaging. I think it's like
the Great Awakening of the ultra-Zionist CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp. The false Great Awakening of Alex Karp. From Peter Thiel's mouth to your ears.
Another dance where I'm supposed to say, of course, whatever. It's like there's this one issue where I might, and then you get boxed into you cannot solve the problem. And then I would say, what is the biggest problem in this society? Biggest problem in this society.
Palantir still working in Ukraine? Starlink still working in Ukraine? What's up? What's going on? What's up here? What's happening? Russia's saying they outlaw Palantir, but have their own version of Cancer Moonshot. It seems like some data is being shared between Russia and Palantir, and Dugin is a transhumanist. But we're not going to talk about all those things because just like any good conservative, I love Russia, and they do no wrong. I'm being facetious there, by the way.
Perspective is legitimacy of our institutions. Why aren't they legitimate? They're not legitimate because, okay,
casting doubt, just like Peter Thiel does on our institutions. And I understand our institutions are corrupt, but and Doge isn't taking a saw to cut out the corruption. It's taking a wrecking ball. You don't do it that way.
Do any of you really believe that 99% of your taxpayer dollars are being spent? But last and not least, and probably arguably most importantly, there's two revolutions happening. One is
Yes, Bear. Romans 1 speaks to anyone who is not born again, and anyone who revels in degeneracy. You know, sexual sin, witchcraft, all those things. Not only homosexuality, very much so.
Transparency and one is AI. Okay, so why is it that we do not know where every penny of our money goes? Like, how do you explain that to people? And by the way, slightly more technically, what large language models do is they mean you can go into the contracts and see exactly what happened. So in the past, we couldn't do this. Now we can.
Now we can use AI to look at all these contracts and figure out, analyze all this data and catalog all this data. Well, that's what Palantir does. A little bit of sunshine. A little bit of sunshine. We'll get to that in a minute. A little bit of sunshine. Shining some light on all of this mysterious government spending and contracts using artificial intelligence, using Palantir. And Palantir was already built into the government with so many hooks in so many government organizations, so many government contracts. Well, Palantir has already been doing this. Now it's just coming out there. Now we're just talking about it.
The right response is, we want this to happen. We want to happen. We want to be involved in the dialogue. The real response is, it feels like the people criticizing Elon don't want it to happen. And this is going to destroy those people.
Alex Karp, the book is called The Technological Republic. We want to thank you for being here.
I'm going to read it. Hey, look, Mario Nafal. Elon, I always thought AI would be way smarter than humans.
So speaking of AI, what, as time goes on and you're more and more embedded in it, how much, if at all, have your expectations of changed?
Well, I always thought AI was going to be way smarter than humans and an existential risk, and that's turning out to be true.
But I'm just, I don't think AI is going to be more intelligent than humans. But we're just, you guys got to understand, okay? Though he said that, and he said it before, all the other clips he has of like summoning the demon and, Grok being at Memphis, Tennessee, and, his relationship to Memphis, Egypt, it's an existential crisis, but it turned out to be true. But I'm just going to keep improving Grok. We're just going to keep moving forward, right? American exceptionalism. Am I right, guys? AI's Great Awakening. Oh, Mario. Beyond mimicry to discovery, the age of artificial intelligence mimicking humans is over. Today, AI systems are pioneering original discoveries that push beyond human knowledge. DeepMind's alpha geometry bests Olympic-level mathematicians, while X's AI Grok 3, with computing power 10 times its predecessor, tackles the fundamental questions to universal origins. That's right. AI created a man's image instead of someone just picking up the Bible and just reading Genesis. No. The AI made in man's flawed image is going to give you the answers.
Should explain maybe also why do we call it Grok? So Grok is a word from a Heinlein novel.
World Future Society member, Richard Heinlein.
Stranger in a Strange Land. And it's used by a guy who was raised on Mars. And the word Grok is to sort of fully and profoundly understand something. That's what the word Grok means. Fully and profoundly understand something. Should explain maybe also.
Grok means fully and profoundly to understand something. So you interact with Grok, it gives you the data, and now you can fully understand it. Well, that sounds like neo-theosophical gobbledygook. Is he almost a false prophet with lying signs and wonders? We'll find out. Oh, look, Alex Jones. Oh, a disciple of Barbara Marx Hubbard. Oh, just like Elon Musk. Infinity is expanding, but what expands it? Hashtag Team Humanity. Hashtag Hope Core.
In God's plan, we are going to do things you can't imagine. We're just the seed of the mighty oak. We're an embryo that will not just interface with infinity, but will expand infinity.
Picture of Mars. Just go back and look at my Another Gospel of Alex Jones Part 3 series. I'm not going to really discuss much of my issues with this right now. Just go watch that video. He's literally quoting it all again.
Infinity
And Part 4 too, while you're at it.
expansion is God's will. You've never heard that term, now you're hearing it. This is infinity expansion. Infinity is expanding, but what expands it? You are the spark of Promethean fire.
You are the spark of Promethean fire. You are the spark of Promethean fire. You're that little spark of light in Kabbalah and Gnosticism. And Promethean fire, right? The spark of Lucifer, the Promethean archetype being borrowed from Satan and Lucifer, right? The light bringer, the change bringer, okay? The one who destroys through chaos but brings in order. Alex Jones just give it away. Anybody who's actually just paying attention, anybody who's not trapped in the false great awakening, anybody who's not a New Ager or a Theosophist, should see right through this. Well, it's the spirit of the age, the grand illusion that keeps them from doing it, right? There's even Christians through their own arrogancy who thinks that Council for National Policy member Alex Jones is our guy, that he's a Christian man. They'll hear this. You'll play this clip for them. And the cognitive dissonance just engages. It goes into one ear. It goes right out the other ear. You're like, this isn't Christian. And even if you get them to admit it's not, the next day they'll be like, well, Alex Jones is a good Christian man fighting the New World Order. What about that clip I played yesterday? What about it? What clip? For anybody with their eyes open and their heart towards the Lord, their soul towards the Lord, should realize what Alex Jones is saying right here is Lucifer worship. It's human self-actualization. It's human potential. It's the false neo-theosophical manifestation of the ancient mystery Babylon religion. And it's wicked. Blasphemy.
That expands infinity. You are infinity upon infinity upon infinity.
He might as well just say you're the abyss. And he's championing and hoping the singularity happens. You're the abyss. That's what Alex Jones is saying. You're the abyss.
That is my message. I love you. In God.
Oh, look, infographics show. You have more Trump, discussing Trump discussing more of calling Trudeau Governor Trudeau, right? Good old Governor Trudeau, the 51st state of America, Canada, with the infographics show, with its 15 million subscribers, pushes a video of what would happen if Canada become the 51st state. And look at all that back and forth between Americans and Canadians. Look at that, stoking hatred between the two countries that were once seen as good friends and allies. And we might have had our problems here and there. Look at that. Oh, boy. Trump. Why is the economy going into the crapper?
I think it's globalists that see how rich our country's going to be, and they don't like it.
No, the globalists, just like Alex Jones, the so-called globalists, right? The globalists that are behind the scenes, the unnamed globalists.
Market out there, but again, they've been ripping off this country for years, and they're going to do great. Everyone's going to do great, but we can't let this continue to happen to America. Otherwise,
they're going to do great. The globalists are going to do great. Everybody's going to do great.
We're not going to have a country any longer. Thank you very much, everybody.
Oh, look, crypto bros. Oh, crypto bros. World Liberty Financial and SUI crypto bros?
Good morning from the crazy crypto markets. Two major stories today. The top is that SUI has announced a partnership with World Liberty Financial, who's going to make them part of their crypto reserves.
Oh, SUI, crypto reserves. Wow. There you go, crypto bros. There you go, chat. President Donald John Trump established a strategic Bitcoin reserve and U.S. digital asset stockpile. Building that beast system wall by wall. Create a strategic Bitcoin reserve and digital asset stockpile. Today, President Donald John Trump signed an executive order to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve and U.S. digital asset stockpile, positioning the United States as a leader among nations in government digital asset strategy. So, the Bitcoin reserve is going to be made from seized Bitcoin, primarily from Silk Road, right? Russ Ulbricht, but he was pardoned, right? Was that part of his pardon deal? does this Bitcoin even exist? Is it like the Fort Knox gold, right? Does this Bitcoin even exist? Is it even, stored on some sort of, wallet or something? Does it like even exist? Is it on some sort of ledger? I need a Doge audit of this so-called government Bitcoin. Okay, like, does it even happen? Like, this doesn't even exist. Does this even occur? Okay, I don't know. It's just, to me, it's just like this. I gotta laugh at it sometimes. Oh, look, Vivek. Oh, Vivek, you're running for governor of the great state of Ohio. And you know what? You sound a lot like RFK Jr. there, bud. I don't know how I feel about every public expenditure, state, country, municipality on the blockchain for all to see. And that would mean that, our currency would be on some sort of blockchain, backed by some sort of Bitcoin reserve or some sort of currency reserve, right? And then you quote, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Transparency, right? AI transparency being promised to bring in the false great awakening. And we got good old candidate for the governor of New York, the small government crusader, from Peter Thiel's mouth out of Vivek Ramaswamy to your ears. Okay, make J.D. Vance, his really good best friend J.D. Vance, beam from ear to ear with a giant smile on that baby head of his. Sorry, I should not have insulted J.D. Vance's side of his head there. I apologize. But let's see what Vivek had to say here.
Our state should not be getting in the way of enterprising young men and women who are trying to open new schools offering classical, high-quality education to our own kids. Tear down the red tape in the state. Every bit of government bureaucracy, overreach, overspending, overregulation. No, we're done with it. And Frank LaRose, you're going to be great as an auditor and leading the way on that charge. We got to make sure every public expenditure from state level to county level to municipality is at least publicly available on the blockchain for people to see and understand how their money's being spent. I want this to be the top state in the country to be an entrepreneur, to live the American dream, to build and grow a new business, not as some kind of just academic solution to enhance our GDP numbers. That's not a bad thing, but that's not the whole point. These are vital improvements to our economic and social fabric as a state. So we're no longer a state where a little league team has to shut down because they can't find a local company to sponsor them because that company left for Florida. So that we're no longer a state where a single mom has to think twice, or a married mom, for that matter, has to think twice before having another kid for the fear of cost of a new stroller or buying a new car. A state where every parent has that bone-deep conviction that their kids will go on to live an even better life.
That's right. AI and blockchain is going to make you rich. To the quantum financial system due to the Great Reset. The good guys' Great Reset, as Days of Noah would say, right? Yeah, false good guys. I know he's being mocking when he says good guys. But anyway, so there you go. There you go. Take care, everyone. God bless. See you soon.